Hi, this is Jason. I'm super excited to bring you this video because we'll be covering the analytical strategies that are part of the DTB system of tools. So if you are really interested in automation and automating your trading, then this is definitely the video to watch. So let's have a look straight at the strategies to begin with. So let's go to chart. I'm just going to bring up an MES chart. So we'll be covering in this video the MES, the YM, and the NQ. So I'll just pop up a chart. Okay, so we'll give that a moment to load up. So the analytical strategies in the DTB system, there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of them at the time of recording this video. And the reason why there are so many of them is because they really have to be customized for each contract. And that is just due to some limitations with NinjaTrader. So I have made these strategies really customized to the contract so that they can be used on the analyzer through the strategy analyzer. So we'll just bring up the settings for the strategy. So I've selected the MES, and you'll notice first it's got just some headings over there, so you can learn more about the tools through the links provided. The strategy has time slots built into it and the option to use those time slots. You can select a daily stop and a daily target for your account, or for the strategy, should I say. You can even select stop ticks and target ticks and the ability to use them. And then it's got the option to trade either trend or reverse. It has a setting A and a setting B, which are the ones that we are really going to be focused on analyzing, as well as a tick delay. And then a few other little things there that are not too important, apart from the entries per direction and the way the strategy starts. So what I will do in the meantime is bring up the strategy analyzer. So we'll get that running first because it takes a while for those results to actually come through. So we're going to bring up the strategy analyzer, and the first one that we will look at is the MES. Okay. Alright, so we are going to be looking at optimization, and for the purpose of this video I'm not going to be using stop ticks and target ticks because this strategy is really designed to be running continuously. And as you'll see from our playback later on in the video, you'll see how beneficial it is to not actually use those stops and targets, but we'll get into that in a short while. So we're going to be setting setting A and setting B. So I'm going to use between 2 and 20, and setting B is going to be between 2 and 58. So depending on what bars size you are using, these numbers can actually be adjusted. So with a bit of experience and a bit of use, you'll be able to work with them. But I have found that on the MES or even the ES, the 8-8 bar, the DTB 8-8 bars, is pretty ideal for it. So we're going to just use these settings in this example, and you can go ahead and actually do the same thing on your side once you have imported the assembly and you have the strategies on your system. So those are the two settings that I'm going to be optimizing. So setting A and setting B, they are the most important settings in the strategy, and the tick delay is the third one. So because we're going to be using an 8-8 bar, I'm going to make the tick delay between 8 and 8. We're going to just leave that so it only optimizes the setting A and B and keeps the tick delay as an 8. We're not going to enable the time slots, and we're going to go and select the instrument there, so MES. Alright, we'll try that again, MES, and we are going to be using the DTB bars on an 8 and an 8. And I'm going to select the times, the start date as the 15th of November to the 21st, which will cover Friday basically. I'm going to remove break at end of day, so we do that on all the strategy optimizations. We're going to include commission in the output, and we are also going to add the slippage. So it's good to add slippage so that we can get as accurate results as possible. And let's keep the best 10 results, or actually let's make it 20 for interest sakes. And the optimize, we're going to be optimizing on max net profit. So pretty much all you have to do when you're setting up the optimization for the strategies is optimizing your setting A and your B, and those values are good to use. So between 2 and 20 and 2 and 58, and the size of the brick, you're going to use that as your tick delay. And then if you scroll down, we're going to make sure we disable break at end of day, and we are going to not tick the box called tick delay. We're going to include the commissions, max net profit, and then we are going to run that. So that's going to bring up 1,083 iterations of the analyzer. Okay, so we'll just wait a moment for that one to start. Okay, there we go. So it started there, and I'm just going to minimize this and drag it out of the way, and we'll do the next one. So we'll go new strategy analyzer, and on this one we are going to do the NQ. So DTB Analytical Strategy NQ 1220. We're going to be optimizing it again. Okay, and we are going to be optimizing the A and the B. So between 2 and 20 and 2 and 58. Our tick delay on this is going to be 16, because we're going to be using a 16 bar. So we keep that at 16. And same as the other one, we're not going to be using the time slots. We're going to go and select the contract over there. Okay, and DTB bars as the 16 and the 16. Scrolling down, we're going to use the same dates as the previous strategy. So to go to the latest date, you just click on today, and then we're going to go 15 to 21. Disable break at end of day, include the commissions, keep our 10 results, and then we're going to be selecting the max net profit. And then we're going to run that one. Okay, so that's going to do another 1,083. So I'm going to go and drag that one out the way as well. Okay, and now we'll do the last one. So we'll go new strategy analyzer. And this one will do the YM. Okay, so the YM 1220, we're going to be optimizing that. We're going to go to setting A and setting B, 2 and 20, and 2 and 58. The tick delay on the YM, we're going to be using a 12-12 bar. So I'm going to leave the tick delay as 12 and 12. So min and max the same. So it only runs that specific number. All right, and then we'll look at the YM. So it loves to jump, unfortunately, NinjaTrader, when you're selecting this. So you just got to go back in again and select the YM. And we're going to be using the DTB bars, 12 and 12. And the same date. So we're going to stick with the same dates, and I'll explain that in a moment why we're doing that. So 15 to 21. Remove break at end of day, include the commissions, 10 results, and we want to go to max net profit. And run. So that is going to be running there. I'm going to move that out the way again. And we'll just see how the other ones are doing. So there's the NQ. So that's busy running. So it does take, I found about 30 minutes. So this does speed up a bit as it goes. I'm just going to make sure, it's always good to review the settings just to make sure you haven't missed anything. Make sure that everything has been selected as you wanted it to. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'll move this out the way and let them calculate while we look at the strategies again. Okay, perfect. So as you can see too, we have like the MNQ and the MNQ continuous trading. So the difference between the MNQ and the continuous trading is that the continuous trading is designed to exit on session close, but then it's designed to immediately open a position on market reopen that matches the same signal as it closed on. So if the session closed on a buy and the next session opens, it'll automatically enter a buy as soon as that session opens. So that's what I meant by continuous. You can also disable exit on session close, but it's good, especially if you're going to trade over a weekend, or you're trading over a weekend and you don't want to keep a position going over the weekend in case something happens. It's good just to have that option where it's only going to be opening a position when the market reopens. So that'll just help a lot with, if there's a huge gap in the market and it goes against you. So that is good for that. So I've done that with the MNQ and the NQ with continuous trading. So as time goes by, I may be adding that to the YM and the MES, the ES. So this list might increase. And again, I'm not making all these strategies over here. I'm not trying to get a whole list of them. It's just, unfortunately, due to the limitations of NinjaTrader, these rarely have to be programmed specifically for the contract. And obviously as this contract expires, I'll be doing an update to the assembly and just adding in the new contract in the strategy so that it'll work on the new contract. So always check the OneDrive folder and make sure that you've got the latest assembly. And I'm also doing updates to the assembly every couple of days or every few days, just to add little tweaks and little things into that. So that is the main difference between that. Now let's just load up an MES strategy. So let's pop it on there. So MES, and I'm going to select, so it's going to have the numbers there. So I'll go a 2 and a 25 with an 8 delay. So this is a setting that has worked over the last 2 weeks, this specific set of settings. Okay, so I will just apply that. Okay, before I apply it, I will just run through some other little settings that we have in the strategy. So we already discussed this time slots. Okay, so that is that section. Now it's got a parameter for ATM strategy. So the cool thing about an ATM strategy is that if you have customized your own specific strategy through the ATM on the chart, it will actually use that as the targets, the stops, and you can set trailing stops. There's quite a lot you can do with an ATM strategy. So if you specifically want to select an ATM strategy and you want to enter multiple positions on the signals, you can actually set that up in the parameters of the ATM, or you can create a template for that. So I have it on wait until flat, synchronize. On each tick is the strategy has got a bid and ask in the strategy, so it's really making sure that it's not just working on bar close. So it's going to be really good in that regard. So I will just disable that ATM because I'm not going to be using it at all in this example. So I'll do that and I will click on enable, apply, and OK. So let's give that a moment to load up. Okay, so it's starting to calculate. Now what will happen is it will just plot all the prior positions on the chart, and it's still working its way through. So that's where it is at the moment, and it's coming to the end. So once you load the strategy up, it'll just take a few seconds just to calculate what it has done. So I have got on this chart, I have got a date from the 15th of November to today. So that is basically it's the time of the optimizer is going to run, so between the 15 and 21, and I've also got it continuing to today. Alright, so this is basically just showing you the previous plotted executions. So if I go for intrastatics to the strategy performance, and I go to real-time and historical, it's going to bring up basically the backdated trade history that the strategy would have, the positions that the strategy would have taken had it been active during that time with those specific settings. So it's pretty much exactly 50-50 at this stage with regards to the percentages. So if we look at the analysis, you're going to see a nice incline there, which is great. And then it's going to have the trades. So the great thing is now we're running the optimization, and what we'll do after the optimization runs is we'll switch over to the playback connection and we'll run the numbers that the optimizer gives us. But as an interest, that is more or less, well, this is what the strategy would have executed had it been active. So that'll be the trade performance from the 15th all the way up until the 25th, which is now. So I've got it on wait until flat synchronize. So as soon as the next signal pops up, it's going to either buy or sell depending on what that signal was. So the very last, so that's how that's going to execute. Now our strategy optimizer is still running in the background, so I'll just move this out the way and we'll see how that is going on. Okay, so because I've got 3 running, they're going to take a bit longer. So what I'll do is I'll just pause this video and I will resume it once this is actually completed. Okay, so the optimizer has completed on all 3 of the optimizations that we had running. So let's have a look at some of the results. Let me just get this expanded a little bit. Okay, so what you're seeing over here are the settings A and B. So there we have, if you put your mouse over it, you'll see what it is. So setting A is 2, setting B is 25, we've got an 8 tick delay. So those are the different results, the best results that the optimizer could come up with using the parameters that we put in. So we've got a few listed over there. So we'll just have a look at the first one on the list, which is the 225.8. So a total of 35 trades during that period and 51.4% accuracy, average trade $20, average winning 62, average losing 24. And those are the rest of the results. We'll look at the analysis and we will look at the trades themselves. So very similar to the chart that I brought up earlier, with the settings that I used in there. So that is what the optimizer is telling us are the best settings for that specific period that we had running and analyzing all the data in that period. Now with the analyzer, you could run it for any stretch or period that you want. You can run it up to the day that you're actually trading. So ideally with this type of with the optimizer, it is good to every single day run an optimization on whatever instrument you are trading, and you can run it for the last week up until your trading day, and this will give you a very clear indication of what settings are actually working for the current market conditions. So if you notice, especially when you've got 225, 226, 224, 223, you know that in that range of numbers, all those numbers are actually very effective. And then you're going to have a few other mixture ones there. You've got a 1650. So there's quite a few different A and B settings that actually work during the day. So these are the ones that obviously work beautifully for that week. And like I said, if you're running it up until your trading day that you're on at the moment, you can actually really get a very clear indication of what settings you can use and then go and apply those settings to your active trading chart. Okay, so that is the MES. We'll have a look at the NQ next. Okay, so this is the NQ for the exact same period, and so it's basically 1 week of trading, and those were the results that it spat out. So 952, 65, 56, 227, and so on. So those are the best optimized results for that period. So for example, on the 6.5, it only did 14 trades during that period, and those were the results for that period. So you can look at also the amount of trades that have been entered. It'll obviously give you a lot more frequency of positions during that time period or during the day. So obviously having 149 trades is a lot more trades happening for a very similar type of return. So there's these type of things that you can analyze, and you can run multiple settings on one chart. So you can have one chart with 3 strategies even running on it, each with 1 entry per direction, and then having having each strategy running on its own numbers so that it actually picks up a chart. Now I will bring up the next one as well, which was the YM. And those were the results that it spat out for that period. So 753, 555, 1853, and those are the net profit and the drawdowns for that period. So this is the benefit of optimizing your strategy, or to optimize results, to find out what settings are actually perfect. And just to give you an indication, I've got another chart that's just running in the background, and this is an MNQ chart. So I'll just bring that one up on my screen. So this is an MNQ strategy active on this specific chart. It's got a 6, 5, and a 12 setting. So if we go into the strategy settings, you'll see those are the A and B settings with the tick delay. Now, even though it shows their stop ticks 144, target ticks 12, we haven't selected the boxes to respect those values. So even though they're showing there, they're not actually in play. You've only got your A setting, your B setting, and your tick delay in play. So if I go back on this chart, those are the current entries. So that was the last signal to buy over there, and it's still in a long position. If I scroll back again, those were the different positions that it's entered. So it entered, it bought, sold, and it actually also has periods where you can have very long trades. So trades can continue for long periods of time, and then you'll have times where the price bounces around the baseline, or bounces around the point where it's looking for positions. So that's why you're going to have trades that are going to be small losers, and then ultimately what you're looking for is those large running positions. So there's another example of a nice running position where it basically covered that whole distance, bought and sold, and then it bounced around like we said. And then, so that's the type of a look that the strategy will give you when it's running. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will go and switch to our playback. So I have downloaded the data for that period, so 15 to 20. So the playback data, and now we are going to go load those settings into the playback to see how they compare to the optimization. Alright, so I'm going to go new chart, and I'm going to select the MES first. And now if you remember, we used the 8 and the 8 on that. Okay, and we ran, it's going until the 21st or 20th. So that is the one chart we're going to have, the MES. And the next one was the NQ. So we'll load up the NQ. And the NQ was a 16-16 bar, if you remember. Okay, and the third one was the YM. And the YM, we were working on a 12 and a 12 bar. Okay, so let me just move out the control panel for now, and let's set up these charts. Okay, so we'll start off with the MES. So we'll go into the strategy. Now what I've done is I've taken some screenshots of the performance, of the trade performance, of the optimizer. So we can use the setting on there. So 225.8. If you remember, that is the setting that the strategy optimizer gave out. So I'm going to use a 225 and an 8. So that I'll use on the strategy. Okay, so we're going to go load the MES, and we are going to load a 225 with an 8 tick delay, and we're going to leave everything else as it is, and we're going to enable that. Okay, now the YM, let's look what the YM gave us. And I'll run the 545.12 on that one. So strategy and the YM. So there's a 545 and 12. And then we'll go and enable that one. Okay, and then on our NQ, I took a screenshot of that one too, so we can have a look at that. NQ, we'll run the one with 14, because I want to show you something interesting about that specific chart. And being 14 trades, I want to show you the difference. I want to show you basically what will happen if you had run the continuous trading strategy compared to the one that we are going to be running now. So let's load a 6, 5 and a 16. So strategies, we're going to load the NQ, and we're going to go 6, 5 and 16. Alright, perfect. So let's position these so that we can get them all on the chart. All on the screen, so we can view them in action while the replay is running. So MES, YM and NQ. Okay, so I'm going to go and press the start button, and what will happen is it was obviously a Sunday, the 15th, so it's going to wait until basically 6 p.m, which is when market opens. Now you'll notice with the DTB bars is they start at a very specific point. They've been programmed to start at a very specific point, and the benefit of that is when you're sharing charts between traders, and you're sharing charts between your trading group, your bars will look exactly the same on everybody's PC. So you're not going to have different start times or start bars on your chart. they're all going to basically be matching exactly as you will see it on your chart. So if anybody else loads up a 1212 YM or a 88 MES, and at any time of any day, if you share your chart with that person, they will see exactly what you are seeing. So they'll also get exactly the same results that you will on the strategies if you're running the same settings. So the strategies are set to automatically start. It's got an auto start feature in it. So as soon as the strategy is ready to take positions, it will automatically activate. Okay, so there it's starting to take positions. Now you'll see these lines on the chart, but that's only the very beginning of the chart that you will see that. But this is the actual price. So when these bars catch up with the actual price, they'll start painting from that position. Okay, let's hope it speeds up enough. I might just make this centering on scale so we can see what the price is doing. Okay, now that has shown up, I can go and disable that again. Okay, so those are the positions now that the strategy is taking with the optimized settings that we put in there. Okay, so far the MES is only $10 up. The YM is 1500 up. Currently in a sell position. I can activate the chart traders, which will actually show the positions. And we can change that to a dollar figure. There we go. So normally my playback runs a bit faster than this, but that is okay. So this is the control panel that's just showing you the actual trades that are happening at the moment. I might just leave it over there. So the MES started off a bit slow. We're only on $63 so far for the first day, 2.2 for the first day, and 6.3. So that's where we are after the first day. We're now into the 16th. So I'll move this out the way for right now. So what I wanted to also show you on the NQ, now we know that this strategy is only going to take 14 positions, okay? Because that's what the optimizer shared. So this is from the beginning. Now what I was saying earlier about continuous trading is that when the market closes, okay, so there was the first trade. It reversed over there. It continued all the way up until exit on session close. So what would have happened is when the market opened again, if you had it on continuous trading, it would have immediately entered another buy position when the market opened, and then the signal actually reversed almost immediately, so it would have sold again. So there wouldn't have been much of a difference in this specific situation, having it on the strategy that we have now compared to the continuous trading. But let's have a look further on. So we'll see when we'll have a look at the end actually when we have the full results of the strategy. I'll move this up a bit over here. So the MES is still pretty slow in gaining its momentum, and I think that's what the analyzer even told us. The first day was very small, and then it increased from there. So let's have a look at the YM. So that's the YM, the position from the strategy. If we scroll back, those were the last actual positions, and as you can see, it's got the slippage built into. So I've always make sure to add slippage when I run the playback. I do not want to, you've got to add slippage to give you more of an accurate result. So just like over there, the slippage was even stronger, was even larger. So that slippage is very important to try and get the most accurate results when it comes to running your playback connection. And the strategy was built into the optimizer too, so it's definitely going to ensure that the results are going to be as close as possible to what you would experience in real time. So there was the next exit on session close. So what I was saying earlier about the continuous trading option, but if you selected the strategy that said continuous trading on the NQ, what would have happened on session close, it exited there, but what would have happened immediately on session open, it would have entered a sell position right then and there again. So you would have been in another trade actually going down at this stage. So our NQ is currently on 8.5 with 57% accuracy. The YM is on 3.9 with 40% accuracy. And the MES now has gone up to 215 with 38% accuracy. We had a few losing positions in a row there on the YM, so I took a little bit of a hit there. And this is only one entry per direction, so it's only one contract and one entry per direction. So that can obviously be increased based on what the account balances are that you're trading this on. So as you can see, there's no stops and no targets in the strategy that's running. It is just basically reversing when the signal changes. So it's a very new concept for most traders. Most traders want to have a trailing stop. Most traders want to have a profit target. And it's just not designed, the strategy is not designed to do that, because it is meant for continuous trading. And in the long run, that is the way to go. As soon as you have a trailing stop, the price may go in your favor, but then what ultimately happens is the machines come up and take out your stop, and then they still continue in a direction anyway. So you could just imagine having a trailing stop on this strategy here. You would never have had this long run coming down at all. You would actually have been, most people would have entered over there, have a trailing stop, and then get kicked out of their position, only for the market to continue onwards. And that happens all the time. That's why I'm not a firm believer at all in trailing stops. Same thing over here. You'll have you'll buy, and then the market will come back down. It'll take out your trailing stop, because what most traders would do is, if they were lucky enough to actually enter at this position, as soon as the price gets some really good rhythm and goes up there, they'll move their stop, and they'll move their stop below, you know, below this low even, and then the price will go up again, and then they will move their stop as close as they can to price, and then what will happen is the price will come down, take you out of your position, only for the price to continue up. So that's why I'm not a firm believer in trading stops. It'll be exactly the same over here. You know, you would have, I would imagine that as soon as the price rises, people will put their trailing stop over there and then be out of the position, only for the market just to continue all the way up. So that's why continuous trading to me is really the only way to go. So there's a perfect example there of the strategy that I just showed you a few minutes ago, where it says continuous trading. It would have entered a sell position over there, and it would have only exited that position over there. So that would have been another trade in play that would have yielded 488 ticks. But instead we actually missed this whole trade because we had it on wait until flat synchronized, so it was waiting for the next signal to happen instead of it just acting on the last signal. So that is the difference between those two strategies. That's why I've got them both in there, because some people would like to catch those much longer runs in price and not be dictated to by the next signal that comes up. So definitely experiment with that. Experiment with the continuous, or the one that just acts on the next signal. Okay, so our MES has climbed up to 378. The YM is on 5.5, and this is now on 6.3. So I took a few losses over here where the price just bounced around this area. So if we look closer at that, you know, these are the signals that the system is giving. So it'll buy and sell based on what the strategy is programmed at. And you'll find that when the price does bounce around the signal, it will buy and sell, and then until it gets a direction. So it bought over there, the price went up a bit, and then came down, it sold, the price went down a little bit. So this is just where the machines are taking out stops. But then ultimately what happened is the market took a direction over there, it stopped bouncing around, so the machines had taken out enough stops to get people out the market, to get the traders out the market. And now what they've done since then, the price has gone all the way up, and now we're in a 1500 trade. I think it was up to 2000 something. But these are the areas where machines are taking out the stops, and that's why the strategy is so brilliant, because it's actually identifying those locations. So yeah, you also might have situations where the price might go right up and then come down. You know, it also can happen. You know, as it showed earlier on that MNQ chart that I showed. But ultimately, you're going to have these very long runs of price, and the last thing you want to do is exit a position with a trailing stop, or exit a position because it looks like the price is reversing, only for it actually to be running right up again. So there was exit on session close, so that was the 19th. There's the next trading day. So if you had it on continuous there, it would automatically have bought again at that location. So it doesn't always work out perfectly when you enter a trade on immediately on session open, but very often it actually does. Okay, so our MES has gone up to 549 and 6,055 on the YM and 8,650 on the NQ. So we just got this last day to pass. So MES is on 549 at the moment. I'll bring up the analyzer, the optimizer, should I say, and that said that it ended on a 722 net profit. That was the analyzer. The YM ended on a 5591 by the look of it. Looks like it's even doing a bit better than that. And the NQ did not look like it took any more position. So after that session closed, the price just continued to rise up, and it didn't enter any more positions. And it looks like it's coming. Well, it's 9:30. We still got you know, half the trading day, or up until 5 that it's going to be running. So had you had the continuous trade open, you would have been in another position just after market open, which would have been about over there. That's about where market opened. And let's see where this ends. It might even end a little bit down, or it might be up. So let's have a look. Okay, so we're approaching the end of the trading day, the end of the trading week. Okay, and that was exit on session close. I saw that on top there, so we're right at the end now. So that's the end of the week. So as a matter of interest, this last position would actually have ended on a 200 tick loss if you had continuous. But then you would have made 488 ticks on the previous close where you had that big gap. So overall, it does pay to have that continuous running as an option. So that is where the strategies ended for the week. Okay, so let's bring it up. So that is the MES. It ended on $728. If I look at the strategy performance, real time, that is what the strategy did during the week, during that week. Now I notice on Playback Connection it doesn't have the commission built in, but we did 35 trades, and there's basically $1 a trade if you work out what the cost is of entering a position. So you can take like $35 off that amount for the commission. And the strategy optimizer said that it made 722. So 722 with 35 trades. So as you can see, the optimizer and the playback are in unison. It's got the exact same amount of trades that were entered. So that is how how good the optimizer is to actually give you the right numbers that you can actually work with. And as you can see, it matched perfectly on the MES. The net profit, it's very, very close to what it was. So if you look at even the max drawdown, it's all there. So that's the cool thing about optimizing the strategies. You can actually pick out these numbers and then run them. Now, these numbers may only be valid for 2 weeks. They might be valid for 10 days or 7 days. So that's why it's important to run the optimization even up to your current trading day, or a week, even from a week before your trading day to your current trading day, to see what best settings or which best settings actually works for this period that you're in. All right, so let's have a look at the other chart. Okay, so the MYM, sorry, the YM ended on 5270 with a 1350 drawdown. So I'll bring up the YM. Okay, so that's it over there. I'll bring the strategy performance. Okay, so let's have a look. What did I have? 545.12. So 545.12. The strategy analyzer said it made 5494. It made 5270. So there's a slight difference in that one. And the percentages are very similar. The slippage is there. The drawdown is similar. So the drawdown was 1350 in real time, and the analyzer said it was 1470. So very, very close in that regard. Let's have a look at the NQ. So strategy performance, real time for the playback. 8650 with 2210, 14 positions, and 8602. So it's the second one on the list. So actually these were very, it's the first one, sorry, the first one on the list, the 65. The 6516, so 8605, 14 trades, 35%. And the drawdown very similar. So that's that's the benefit of having the optimizer with the playback. So it's just basically confirming that the data is correct, the optimizer is giving out those settings, and I really hope that this makes a difference in your trading. I hope it helps you setting up the optimizer so you can see what settings work, and then just play around with different area or different amounts of data that you want to configure, that you want to optimize, and run from that. So hopefully that was good, and I look forward to making the next video, which will discuss our next strategies in the system, which will be looking at our basic EMA strategy and then our wick trader strategies. Very, very cool strategies too. So those will be next. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.